Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox on AM 650.
We're talking boating on this episode of Boomer Life here on AM 650 with two members of the Board of Directors of Boating BC, Michael Short of Vancouver Marina and Morley Monroe of Canmar Yachts, both in Richmond with us in the studio. We talked a little bit about this, Morley. You were talking about first-time boomer boaters. That sounds almost contradictory because Michael's been boating since he was 2 years old or less, and a lot of people around Vancouver are like you, Mike. They've been boating all their lives. They grew up here. Well, for those of us who didn't grow up here, and both Morley and I didn't, we've come to this province and this city and just been absolutely blown away by, first and foremost, the fact that you can boat 12 months of the year, which anywhere else in Canada, Morley, is just a fantasy, isn't it?
Yes. In just even in the Vancouver area, when I worked out in the Horseshoe Bay area, in the wintertime, I would go winter fishing, and some of the largest fish would come in at that point in time, and you didn't really have to go that far away.
Right.
And there were a lot of calm days. There were a lot of calm but wet days. But at the same time, if you caught a fish, that was a big bonus, and it was a lovely day spent just on the water where it was peaceful, it was serene, and you were completely away from the rat race.
Right. And Mike, there's a whole thing going on the water too. Boaters, as a group, as a community, are very like-minded people and very helpful to each other, aren't they?
Boaters are instant friends when we're in the marina. They may have just met you, but you're all here to go boating, and there's a real community down in the marina and on the water. There's always somebody there to help you out, whether that you've known the guy for 30 years or you've known him for 30 minutes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I used to work for another network, and we had a boat that would go out and do, fishing reports and such on the weekends. And I can't tell you how many boats we pulled back to Horseshoe Bay. You'd just go by somebody, and they'd be dead in the water, looking a little, stressed. So you go by and go, everything okay? Well, no, we've lost our engine. Well, here's a rope. We'll pull you in, and I was working, and it was an easy thing for us to do, but it happens all the time. If you're in trouble, somebody will come by and go, "Are you in trouble?" You go, "Yes," and they'll help you out, Morley. It's great.
Yes, and the Coast Guard and the search and rescue and fellow boaters, there's so many different sources of help if you do run into problems with your boat, so that I've never heard of too many incidents where nobody came to the assistance of somebody that needed help out on the water.
Well, of course that it translates onto the open ocean too. When sailors, on these cross-Pacific get into distress, there's some tanker that comes by, Mike, and rescues the crew.
There's always somebody.
Yeah. Fairly close by. Yeah. Now, you're a fisherman. You've been fishing all your life. And Michael just mentioned, Morley, during the break to you and me, that 2014 is scheduled to be, what did you call it, Michael, the most significant or largest sockeye salmon run ever?
That's correct. So, it go in a 4-year cycle, as some people probably know. So 4 years ago, I think it was about 30 million sockeye, which I was fortunate enough to get out and go fishing, and it was just I've never experienced fishing like that, where we just off the mouth of the Fraser River and sockeye were jumping everywhere.
Wow.
So if it's twice that much this year, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like.
Don't even bother with the line, just take a
net,
right?
I had a customer who 4 years ago had one jump right into the boat. So it doesn't get any easier than that.
Wow, that's just the best, isn't it, Morty? Just pull a boat out into the salmon zone and let them jump in. With 14, what was the number of millions? How many?
I think it was 30 million last time, and I've heard numbers upwards of over 60 million this year. So
that's just amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. And if you are a sport fishing person, do you need to buy, Morley, some kind of boat that's specifically set up for fishing? You'd have to be a pretty hardcore fisherman like Michael is if you wanted to actually buy a tricked out fishing boat, wouldn't you?
Almost any boat will work for fishing. It really depends on how enthusiastic you want to get in your focus on fishing. But even a sailboat, sailboaters have been known to drag fish lines, and They may not admit it, but they'll catch a fish
of course
while
they
they're going
will.
along. But you can get fishing boats that are designed specifically for fishing.
Right.
And then you can get ones that are designed for fishing and cruising, and then you can find cruising boats that maybe aren't designed for fishing, but you can still whack on some downriggers and catch some fish while you're out there, catch dinner.
Right. And Michael, I suppose the fun part from a lot of boaters' perspective is the nonstop parade of toys, the gizmos and gadgets that you can buy to put on your boat to do everything from find fish to communicate with the rest of the world. I mean, it's just incredible, isn't it?
There's apps for everything, right?
That's right.
Yeah, the iPad is the new must-have toy for the boat. Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of great apps and gear that you can get, and there's always, I mean, that's always part of the excitement. Sometimes is having a boat and looking for your next great gadget or piece of equipment to put on the boat.
When you were talking about all the boomers hanging around Vancouver Marina, and a lot of them are just tinkering. I mean, they don't go out every day, but they're down at the marina every day or every second day, just messing with stuff on the boat, twisting a screw here, polishing something there, painting something else. It's a big deal.
Yeah, that's right. Or just even firing up the barbecue right at the dock.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Is boating expensive, Morley? I mean, I know we all drive, and I would assume that boat gas costs the same as car gas, right?
It's pretty parallel in price.
Do you pay all the transit levies and all that junk on your boat taxes? You've got the fueling station under the Burrard Street Bridge, Mike. You'd know that.
Yeah, I mean it's not quite the same as the road, but we sell a higher grade in terms of gasoline. The gasoline is a higher grade that you would want to have in your boat than just standard regular.
Right.
So it works out to be almost the same as regular gas and mid grade gas and sure the thing is that it just like driving your car, it just depends on how you operate your boat. If you want to drive around with the throttle down all day long, you'll burn a lot more gas than if you're just putting around in the harbor. So.
Well, you boys both met Natasha, our receptionist, when you came in to the studios this afternoon. She is pretty typical of a Vancouver person. She has a little girl, and she and her husband and daughter. She was telling me, because I said that our boating guests are coming in. Oh, boating, she says. Oh, we're going boating, and they have friends who have a little cabin cruiser, a little power boat where they can stay overnight. And so her arrangement is, we're going to chip in for the gas, and we're going to be taken out for a weekend, do a little fishing, a barbecue on the beach, all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, if you're going to go for a boat ride with some friends, you should expect to chip in for the gas. It ain't cheap anymore, is it, Morley?
No, it's not cheap, and it's an etiquette or a courtesy.
Absolutely.
A thank you for taking them out on the water.
That's right. And a small compensation given the fantastic weekend away on the water. You like the away stuff. You're just a big fan of the word away, aren't you?
I've always liked getting away on a boat, and quite often, sometimes it's just going up to a marina and spending a weekend with other boaters in the Pender Harbor area, or sometimes it's a matter of going out into Howe Sound and with a friend and spending a quiet afternoon in our own little bay, or and sometimes it's just a matter of just going out to Howe Sound and turning the engine off and letting the boat drift.
Just drift with the tide.
With friends, with the tide.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot, it's sunny, and there's a little bit of a breeze to keep you cool, and there's absolutely no noise. So that, yes, getting away from the yellow or the white line is very important to me.
Back to the yellow and the white lines again. We're talking boating with our two guests, Michael Short and Morley Monroe from Boating BC's Executive Committee. They're both on the board of directors. Their website is boatingbc.com. And there's still more ahead here on Boomer Life. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on AM 650.